globalization of food. So let's all put our hands together for Anna.
Okay, here we go. Hi, my name is Anna Marks, and I'm here to talk to you today about how globalization is reflected in the food we eat. I love cheeseburgers. I probably love cheeseburgers a little bit too much. Quite frankly, when I see a cheeseburger, it's kind of run at the cheeseburger and consume it. How many of you enjoy cheeseburgers? Yes, cheeseburgers are good. When I see a cheeseburger, my heart just beats a little bit faster in hope that I will get to consume the cheeseburger. Cheeseburgers are great. I think that a cheeseburger is the perfect expression of American cuisine. When you think of American food, it's cheeseburgers and apple pie. You know, I don't think tacos or noodles, I think cheeseburger. The cheeseburger obviously came from the hamburger, which, you know, cheeseburger is a burger with cheese. The first hamburger was invented by a small shop in New Haven, Connecticut called Louis Lunch, and they serve their burgers on toast with onions and a burger and nothing else. If you ask for ketchup, they will throw you out of the restaurant. Very fascinating. And so the cheeseburger and the burger itself are recognized globally as American cuisine. Why is that exactly? It's because of one company that has spread it across the world to over 100 different countries. It's McDonald's. Nice. McDonald's is great. I personally enjoy McDonald's. McDonald's is a perfect example of how a company uses global too, all across the world. McDonald's operates, and they really exhibit this idea of globalization. Globalization is defined by dictionary.com as worldwide integration and development. And so McDonald's really exhibits this idea because they modify their food depending on the country they're in to better suit the nation. So not only will McDonald's serve in, say, let's say India, chicken nuggets and french fries, McDonald's also makes new foods to fit the culture. So instead of, for example, in India, we're going to use the India example, a lot of people do not eat beef because of religious reasons. So McDonald's makes fish burgers so that they can eat it. And it's this idea of not only do they bring their food and their cuisine and their culture to these other countries, they're able to adapt. And so now we can get shawarma in New York City, which is where I first had it. It's tasty. And shawarma is a really good example of people moving around the world and how they bring their culture with them. And it's a great way for us to experience other cultures. And that's one of the positive benefits of globalization. Oh my gosh, I should keep this button. Okay. Shawarma is also a really good example of ethnic food. Ethnic food to me is a food that defines the culture. So, you know, shawarma you can find almost any corner in the Middle East. I mean, it's all over the place. It's like those honey roasted peanuts in New York City. You know, they're everywhere. And so it's this idea that shawarma exhibits the culture of the nation it's in. And it's also a type of street food because it's found in the streets. Now, how many of you get Chinese takeout regularly? Yes? Chinese takeout? Okay, how many of you think it's Chinese? Anyone? Someone raise their hand just for effect. There we go. Okay. Chinese takeout is not traditional Chinese food. Sorry. What happened was the Chinese restaurants that we eat at now are very Americanized. You know, they're probably rooted, the recipes are rooted in traditional Chinese dishes, but they've been modified to better suit American palates and to make more money. And so that's not what ethnic food is. Ethnic food is something that really exhibits the culture of the nation it's sourced in. So a really good example, I think, of ethnic food, click, oh, click, here we go, hold on. Nope, back, there you go, that's it, thanks Gary. Everyone give Gary a round of applause, student. A really good example, in my opinion, of ethnic food is Japanese sushi. It really represents the culture of Japan. So this is an example of a traditional hand-formed sushi, which is basically just sushi rice, salmon or another type of fish, and a bit of nori, which is dried seaweed. And I think it really exhibits Japanese culture because in Japan, it's very reserved. And the sushi is very restrained, but there's so much complexity when you taste flavor. And that's what's really fascinating about sushi, because it exhibits the culture, and that's what makes it real ethnic food. Oh, okay, sorry. I'm not trying to do this to be annoying, it's just an accident. Okay, how many of you have had a California roll? California rolls? Okay, for those of you that don't know, California roll is a roll type of sushi that was developed in the United States. It's basically seaweed again, and then sushi rice, and then crab, and avocado, and sometimes mango. I've had mango, it's pretty tasty. And this is an example of fusion cuisine. Fusion cuisine is basically this idea of taking more than one culture and combining them to create new flavors and new ideas. So the California roll is a good example of fusion cuisine because it blends Japanese sushi with tropical ingredients. And it makes this interesting flavor combination that you wouldn't get if you were just eating sushi in Japan in the 1600s. You know, that just wouldn't happen. And so this is another example of how globalization has helped us to develop new flavors and new ideas. So now I'm going to give you some food that I made you. Aren't you excited? Yay! And Sharon and Natasha are going to pass out to you. And just a warning, if you're a vegetarian, don't eat this. There's meat in it. If you're allergic to eggs, I'd also recommend not eating it. And I'm not sure if we have enough, so if you're really friendly with the person next to you, you can cut it in half with a toothpick and share. Sharing is good. It promotes good life and happiness. And so what you're eating right now is a hoisin glazed meatball. The meatball is made from pork and beef and some turkey bacon. I don't know why I use turkey bacon, because there's pork and beef in it. And then on top, you have a pickled carrot that I made last night. So we're enjoying this. And so this exhibits the idea of fusion cuisine because it's a blend of Italian-American meatballs, right? Italian-American food, and Japanese flavors. And it's sort of the downside of new flavors developing, new ideas developing. We really see this through westernization. So, for example, when a country, let's say in Africa, starts developing rapidly, sometimes they lose their traditional culture and future families. Nowadays, mixed families and groups are very frequent and rapid, and it's fascinating because these people, home cooks, not fancy schmancy chefs, are actually blending two cultures together, the mother and the father. And so it's this idea that even though we're starting to lose part of our traditional cultures, we're developing new subcultures, new ideas of food that could not have existed without development. And so it's this idea that even though we're losing the baseline traditional cultures, we're able to trace the food back to where it originally came from through the stuff we eat now. I mean, look at tempura. It's really Japanese. I mean, I believe it's Japanese food. However, we can find where it came from in Portugal. And so it's this fascinating idea that even though not everyone is divided by cultural lines anymore, we're actually able to see the integration of people through the food we eat. And so hopefully, one day we'll all love each other through food. Yay! Thank you.
Well done, Anna. Well done.
Oh, and when you ask questions, if you say your name so I know who we're talking to, please. Thank you. The early 16th century, trying to make Japan more Christian, and they brought with them to Osaka, which is a city in Japan, this idea of tempura batter. And it slowly became integrated all across Japan and is now widely regarded as a really traditional example of Japanese food.